you can't avoid, though, is that Tua is one of the most competitive people playing a highly competitive position. He's just trying to gain a first down on a play like that. And it's a split-second decision. We started our show talking about Tua. Manti Te'o knows him so well. He's spoken to his family. If you want to take a look back, it was at the start of our first hour on GMFB. But looking outside of Tua, beyond what happened in the third quarter, coming into this game, as we mentioned, the Bills had the Dolphins number on Thursday Night Football, on Sundays. It didn't matter. It's been a history of dominance for Buffalo, Akbar, over Miami.
Yeah, it's just the physical nature of this game. And it was in the offense. It was on defense. Special teams, the Bills just dominated every single which way you looked. And you particularly saw that even in the way they took away the threat of a big-time Tyreek Hill. I mean, you saw them go up in too high, take away a lot of those vertical routes from Tyreek. And I thought that we were going to see a bomb away from Tyreek. Use his speed, blow it away. It was just physical. And I think everything kind of sets the tempo from the trenches. And I look at the trenches and how they out-physical them on the defensive line and on the offensive line. Both ways, you just saw them get. I want you to take a look at this right here, because even as they were running the ball here, getting after the quarterback, you saw them just putting pressure on Tua, not giving them the opportunity. There was a time that you saw Ed Oliver really apply so much pressure. Tua's throwing interceptions. It is very hard when you get out physical. You can scheme and you can throw the playbook out there on the field, but if you don't start off with the fundamentals of physical, and it just looked like from the very beginning, it didn't look like the Dolphins even had a chance in this game.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Akbar. It reminded me a lot about that Monday Night Football game with the Jets versus the Niners and just the dominance that one team showed against the other team. I'll say this. Josh Allen is that guy. I know Kyle is a big fan of Josh. He's that dude. And for me, it reminds me a lot of the Patrick Mahomes situation when he lost Tyreek Hill and everybody was like, oh, okay, they're not going to be good. He just lost his main weapon. Well, Josh Allen lost everybody. He lost Stephon Diggs, lost Gabe Davis, and he comes back and he puts on that performance 2 weeks in a row. Josh Allen just said last week, I'm going to score 2 touchdowns with my feet, and I'm going to score 2 touchdowns through the air. And he goes in Miami and does what he does. My flowers to you, Josh Allen. I respect your game. Second thing is shout out to Sean McDermott and the coaching staff, specifically the coordinators. Bob Babich Sr., his dad was my linebacker coach in San Diego. Nice. And let me tell you about Bob Babich Sr. This guy, we watched film of walkthrough. He critiqued walkthrough. He would tell me, Manti, I don't like your knee bend on this. I don't like how you broke on this pass. And I remember looking at Coach Babich like, Coach, it's a walkthrough. Like, what are we doing? But knowing the attention to detail that Senior had, it's no secret to me why that Bills defense played with that detail, played with that tenacity, played in assignment sound football like how they did last night. And secondly, Joe Brady. I was in New Orleans while Joe Brady was in New Orleans. This guy understands football at a level that the elite coordinators understand football. The game plan that he had, I remember the first touchdown that they had to cook. We talked about it earlier in the JBD segment, the motion. It allows Josh Allen back there to see what coverage they're in. He knew that they're in man coverage at that time based on how they're reacting to motions. He put Cook out there in the flat, threw him the ball, touchdown. And people are like, oh, that's so easy. Well, it had a lot to do with the coordinator and all the motioning that he's doing to allow Josh to have that success. Guess where Joe Brady was at in 2019 and 2020? He was with LSU. Mm-hmm. He was a passing game coordinator for LSU. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all of those guys that we got to see as, everybody argues as one of the best teams to ever be put together in college football. Yeah. Joe Brady was that passing game coordinator. So hats off to them. Hats off to the Buffalo Bills. What a great game. I look forward to seeing this season play out for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm with Manti. And I don't know if I'm having internet issues or something, but I can't find. How many catches did Diggs have last night? How many catches did Gabe Davis have last night? Zero and zero. How many tackles did Jordan Poyer have last night? He had 4 for a team that lost by 3 touchdowns at home. Guys, the Bills are going to be fine because all I heard is they don't have dogs anymore. They don't have enough weapons. They don't need a weapon. They have the player of mass destruction. He can get along with anything. Don't you guys know this? It's like looking at a Ferrari and begrudging it for losing. Well, they don't have the leather interior and they don't have the Sirius satellite radio subscription. It's still this Ferrari. It still drives. It's not about the interior and the satellite radio. That's a Ferrari. He can play with some people out of the stands and still beat the Dolphins. That's what he does. Why is everybody surprised by this? This is going to be the year the Bills come back down to earth. Oh, I love the Jets and the Dolphins here to take over. Listen, taking nothing away from the terrible thing that happened at the end of the game for Dolphins. I'm completely compartmentalizing this. This was a complete whooping from start to finish. We spent all day yesterday saying the Dolphins have a Bills problem, and I openly encouraged them to do something about it and said I would applaud if they didn't. If they did. They didn't do anything. There was nothing. Guys, this was a no-show at home field, and I don't even want to beat up on the Dolphins. I want to lift up the Buffalo Bills. People want them to go away. They're tired. They're tired. They want the new thing. They're always looking. The Rodgers-Jets thing would be cool. The Dolphins are ascending. No, they're not. It's the Bills. It's the Ferrari, guys. It's all I could say is that you're not getting a new thing. If you want a new thing, look in a different division because this one's taken.
And the engine in that Ferrari is Josh Allen. I mean, you talked about not having Gabe and not having Stephon Diggs. I'm looking at the stat sheets here, which is kind of a good indication of just how good he is and how he's able to distribute it around. You heard during the telecast where we were talking about he doesn't have the pressure of having to feed one guy. Somebody's open, take what the defense gives you, dunk it off to your guy. And you can see he's just evenly distributing it at will across the field.
Well, and if the stress came in this offseason for all of the stars that walked out offensively and they aren't available to him anymore, it was only exacerbated last week in week 1 when the Cardinals effectively looked like they could have beaten the Buffalo Bills at home. Josh Allen was in the helicopter into the end zone, and everyone was saying he's going to have to do too much this season. He can't sustain this. This isn't possible. He comes in on a short week, and in the era of take what's given to you, he said, all right, I have Himbo Cook. I got James Cook coming out of the backfield. Hand off. And the fact that Josh Allen on a Thursday night football game only had 2 carries, good for 2 yards, I would think Bills fans would be pretty happy about that he didn't have to put himself on the line.
No, and to Akbar's part, his point about him having to distribute the ball. I saw a clip from Ed Reed this past week when he was talking about Patrick Mahomes, and he has a weakness. Why? Because you know where his targets are. And a player like Ed Reed, I'll use that to my advantage to take away your targets. To your point, Akbar, Josh Allen doesn't have a target. Everybody's a target. It seems like the touchdown is his target. That's the only target that he has, and he had a lot of those last night. And so sometimes from a defensive standpoint, when you're going against a quarterback where you don't know where he's going, you don't know where his go-to guy is, you have to play all 4 or 5, whoever the receivers are. You got to play them all the same.
No tendency.
There's no tendency. I can't just say, hey, let's take away this guy on 3rd down and 6 because he likes to go to him. Well, you got Khalil Shakir over there catching like 7-8 passes. You got Cook coming out the back.
I wonder what the scouting report is going to look like when they get that fat book coming next week and they go like, what's the scouting report? He's passing it to everybody.
The